Okay, welcome back to the Tone Bar channel. Today, this episode is sponsored by Tone Bar, and the Tone Bar is a different way of mounting your strings. That's what you've been used to, is pins wedged in there holding the ball ends in, which is no good. And this is what a Tone Bar does. It provides constant contact all across the bridge to activate the bridge plate and makes your acoustic guitar sound better. But today we're going to do a little something different. This is just sponsored by Tone Bar. Today we're going to talk about archtops. Okay? Way back in the day when we all started playing, we all got one of these Mel Bay guitar books. Okay, so in the Mel Bay guitar book, they show Mel Bay playing a D'Angelico with a scroll headstock. Now, I've always been an archtop fan, and I used to have a 35 Cromwell made by Gibson archtop, traded for some golf clubs. Wish I still had it. But today what we got a couple things. Today is a K-Craft archtop from in the early 30s. I got this thing from a fellow that I met at the Goodwill, and this thing was completely covered with decoupage. I mean, it was, you know, the flour and cornstarch and water, and it had Mickey Mouse stickers all over it, so I didn't have any choice. And the neck was broke, so he handed me a neck and a body with about, you know, a 1/16 of an inch of gunk on it. So I stripped it down, had an old bridge. I even used a tone bar and ball ends of the string, because it just happened to come out to the right height. So I used ball ends off of strings on a tone bar as the brass, and the brass is pushing down. It works pretty good, but I'm not trying to sell you that. Wild thing. But I love these old archtops, but that's just a demo. What we got today is something special. Ever since I had that Mel Bay book, seen that D'Angelico, started researching the history of guitars. I got the American History book and by Tom Wheeler, and I've got all the books and all the catalogs. But you know, if you buy a Fender guitar, Leo Fender never touched that. If you buy a Gibson guitar, Orville Gibson never touched that. Any guitar you buy with a name on it, Paul Reed Smith, that guy never touched that guitar. They just come up with concepts and have factories, they make them. But one guy stands above all of them, and that's Mr. D'Angelico from New York. And he made 1,164 or 69 guitars. I'm not quite sure how many, but he is a legend. When you bought a D'Angelico, you bought a guitar made by the man with the man's hands. Okay, now just like the Dan Electro guitars, a guy named Michael Compton bought the company in the 90s and brought the Dan Electro guitars back again. And the second generation that were made in Korea are pretty dang good, and I got some of those, and I got one of the first ones. So just like the Dan Electro brand got resurrected, somebody bought D'Angelico and started making them. But they started making that headstock with the finial in the top, or the whatever that is. It's got that cupola, whatever it is. I'm probably saying it wrong. But I'm like, man, when are you gonna come out with a scroll headstock? Because that's what the D'Angelicos I like, the New Yorkers and the jazz boxes, have on them. And if you look at my guitar, that I don't have it down here with me right now, but the guitar I built, the headstock is a D'Angelico scroll headstock with herringbone binding and a abalone W in there. Now, let's get to, oh, no, one more thing. A long time ago in the 90s, my boss gave me tickets to see Frank Sinatra, and Shirley MacLaine opened for him. I took my son and my daughter, a piano teacher whose son became a soloist for a military group, and a dear friend of mine. So I took them to see Frank Sinatra. From where I was sitting, I could see that the guitar player had a D'Angelico. So I go down after the show was over. I go down to the orchestra pit, and the security guard said, "Can I help you?" I said, "I want to talk to that guy right over there." And he goes, "Hey, buddy, you got a fan over here." So he comes over and says, "Well, could I help you?" I said, "Sir, I seen you had a D'Angelico from where I was sitting. I work on a lot of people's guitars here in town, and I've seen pictures, but I just want to look at it." And he goes, "All right." And he brought it over, and it had a canvas case around the case. So he unzipped it and opened it up, and it was a New Yorker. It was a non-cutaway New Yorker, and it was magnificent. You could tell that it was just made by hand with the finest of materials he had at the time, and it was a treat. And then years later, that I went down to Gruen's, and I played every real D'Angelico that I could get my hands on. And one time I was over in the corner, and it was like at that time, back in the 90s, it was $50,000. And I took it off the rack, and nobody was back there with me. And I played Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And some guy come back there, and he goes, "That's the right song, the right era for when that guitar was made." Oh, well, thank you. That was awful nice. And he said, and I said, so I told the guy that Frank Sinatra guitar player, I said, "Man," I said, "you know you can buy a house with one of these." He goes, and somebody might know the rest of the story. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm going to give it to my nephew. He's a fine player." I went, "Man, what a gift. What a gift." Okay, without further ado, what I'm going to show you now is this magnificent beast. Here we have a D'Angelico XL Style B with the magnificent scroll headstock on it. They're making these in Korea, and they are, this is, look at this, it's got a Chatoyan movement on the back, maple, flaming maple on the sides. The top is spruce, but I think it's a laminate top. It's got the Rhythm Chief de-arming pickup in it. And this thing okay, that's what you're hearing there. That's here's the model for the tone bar. When you get a tone bar, that's what you're getting. Contact all the way across your bridge. Okay, so what we're going to do today, I'm going to get out of this picture here. What was you hearing? It was a mono price 15-watt tube amp with a Jensen hot dog in it, and it sounds pretty good. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to change the strings on this. We're going to change. Oh, no, one more thing I was going to tell you. When I called up to my GHS string rep, who is the national sales rep, by the way, thank you, Elizabeth. I asked her if she knew. I asked her if she'd heard about the D'Angelico. She goes, "Oh yeah." She goes, way back in the day, we made strings for Mr. D'Angelico." I said, "You got to be kidding me." So GHS, who I get my strings from, was the supplier to Mr. D'Angelico for the guitars that he made back in the 30s, 40s, and maybe 50s. So I was like, wow. And so she read, I said, "Well, do you know the gauges of those strings that they used on those original guitars?" She goes, "Oh yeah, I got the chart right here." And she read it off to me. I went, so I've got a set of GHS 900 stainless steel precision flat wounds to put on this D'Angelico. I've had this about, a couple of weeks. And it you know, it's, I'm gonna turn this amp off. Hold on. I don't know how long this video is gonna go, so this might be episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. I'm not rushing through this because I'm just down here in the Tone Bar Cousin Earl Studios laboratory studio, whatever you want to call it. A little chilly down here, so I got my sweater on. One thing I want to say about these is, yeah, they're made in Korea, but you know, I've had a lot of those Epiphones, those Emperors, and those you know, Tree of Life Epiphones, those Joe Pass models, the Washburn stuff. A lot of archtops, you know, were made overseas, but you know, they didn't have the quality, or they was getting to the quality that they're doing now. So this is, I'm pretty sure that's just a laminate. I don't think that's real mother of pearl. It's just like I guess a fancy decal. But those are real Grover Imperial tuners. And look how big that headstock. That headstock is magnificent. But they've used, you know, it's just plywood. It's like one of those Harmony guitars from way back in the day. But they've used, and if you'll notice in this other book I got, the tailpiece isn't quite like the original. See, the original's got that little diamond in the middle. The tailpiece ain't quite like the original, and I don't see why they couldn't do that. But what they have done is, whatever factory they're building these in, they did a really, really, really good job. That top, even though it's a spruce plywood top that they've molded, it's nice. You can't tell the plies because the F-holes are bound, and it's got the little fancy thing at the end of it. And these are the inlays on Mel Bay's guitar. Okay, when you plug this thing in, the sound that every jazz record you've ever heard, it's got this sound. You don't even have to do nothing to your amp. You just plug your guitar up in and boom, you're there. And a lot of country songs, a lot of early rock songs, all were done on an archtop. All the classic stuff, a lot of that stuff was done on an archtop. Okay, so enough of me. We're gonna change strings on this, and I hope you can see all this. All right, so this is gonna be boring. We're 15 minutes in, and I ain't even done nothing yet. So, all right, so I'm gonna I gotta do this first. To change the strings on an archtop, you gotta do this first. Got to mark where the bridge goes. I'll put my glasses on here because I can't see nothing. Okay. Put a piece of tape right there at the edge of the bridge, the side of the bridge, and just mark it with a pencil where the feet are. Now, while I'm going along doing this, I'm going to point out some similarities to the tone bar. All right, hang on a second. I gotta go get my Allen wrench. Okay, sorry about that. So what we're going to do here is we'll get a chance to take this bridge off. Try to find the right Allen wrench. There it is. Okay, got it. All right, so an archtop has similar, or the application of the strings is similar to the tone bar, because all the strings are lined up on this tailpiece. And then on an archtop, you have parallel bracing. They go this way. They'll go parallel, and then that bridge, which on this model here, which on this particular bridge that they've made for these D'Angelicos, that bridge is perfectly contoured to the top, which is very important because this providing the contact. That's what I'm telling you about the tone bar. The tone bar provides consistent contact around this sweet spot. Every guitar where that string goes over that bridge, right up underneath that is where the money's at. That's where the sound comes from. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to undo these strings. And I don't want to scratch this guitar, so I'm going to I don't know why, but I'm going to try to save these strings. Okay, there's one. Now, when I get these strings loose, I'm going to take this bridge off, and I'm going to make sure that these little hex head screws are all the way down in there. This is kind of like this is kind of like an ABR1 bridge that you get that one single post going down into the wood. So it's and another thing on these, anytime you string your guitar, you want to, or try to, wind down the string on the post of the guitar all the way down to the bottom, so you get more attack on the nut. Now, when I first got this guitar, I should have done a video on it, but I was just too excited and I couldn't wait. I didn't take nothing off, but I did, you know, guitars don't come set up perfectly. They're just set up generically. So when I first got it, I had to, I did a little bit of adjustment on the bridge to make sure it was intonating right, and I had to tighten the truss rod up because it had a little bit of a front bow to it. Had too much relief. Just a tweak, just like a quarter inch, 3/8 of an inch. Just a little bit of tweak on the truss rod, and it straightened right up. And then the next step that I did on this was to cut the nut down just a little bit. I got those Grove nut slot files, and you just need to dress your slots up a little bit, and so you get nice action here at the top. And I have been playing the crap out of this. I love this guitar. This is not only sounds great through an amp, it also just sounds great on sitting on the couch. It's really a nice guitar, and I want to look at this pickup setup here too. So we're gonna deep dive into this thing. So just if you ain't got nothing to do, you spend an hour or two watching the Tone Bar Man or Cousin Earl swap out strings on this D'Angelico. So the fact that I'm putting the strings on this thing that Mr. D'Angelico had on his guitar, I'm excited about it. And in life, there ain't much to get excited about anymore. All right. One more to go. So like I said, when you put strings on your guitar, you want to wind that string all the way down on that post as far as you can get it. Let me get this all undone here. I hope those of you who have bought a Tone Bar and installed them on your guitar are enjoying your guitars now. I'm going to quit responding to the trolls because to me it's like a blood sport. But I'm just going to throw up a troll alert. So, all right, now watch this. This is going to be beautiful. You just raise that up. Ain't that cool? And then it just comes right up. Okay, and it looks like our oh, look at here. We got two little dings where this bridge is, where those nuts were touching. So I'm gonna back those off. Look, there's two little dings where these screws were screwed in too deep. I didn't mess with those when I first got it. So now look at that. Now the little screws are flush. See, they were sticking out. These were sticking out and was giving us a little bit of a put two little dings on the top, but that'll help locate it back. You got your tape on there. You can put it right back in the same spot. Now let's just brush it off here a little bit. Take a look at what we got. Now, this little bridge pickup is a DeArmond Rhythm Chief, and I got the old catalogs, and it's the real deal from the real manufacturer. Now, they make this model, the XL Style B, with a mini humbucker, and they make one with a humbucker. Now, after hearing look there, that just slides right out. That's your mountain bracket. Okay, so this mountain bracket needs to be bent a little bit. Because when you put it on there, it's not quite right. We'll slide it back on there. I bent it a little bit. That's much better. I'm just trying to get this bent in the right angle. All right, now underneath this pickup here, they just got a bunch of little Velcro this, but I had to. All right. They got this over here. They just got double-sided sticky tape holding this side of the pickup up. Which okay. Alright, now we're going to leave that on there, but we're just going to move it to where that should be. There's a little cutout in the pick guard to let you do that. Now let's put this bar back in here. And we're going to mount this back, get this back on here. Now look at there, it's all straight. It's nice and straight. Okay, that's what you want. It's important that everything be symmetrical. Nice little gold screws. Okay, now we got our pickup back in there straight. We got our bridge squared away. Now we're ready to put the strings on. Now these are 50 to 12s. GHS precision flat wounds. The same strings that Mr. D'Angelico used to use. So now we're going to put our bridge back. Right back where it was. We'll lower our tailpiece down just a little bit. Now we're going to let that sit there. And then we're going to wind these strings down all the way down. Okay, I'm gonna move this camera over here. Video may be unusable, but I'm gonna let it run. Okay, now that's pretty good. All right, so we got our bridge in the right place. We're gonna wind these down. They don't have much, but we want enough to wind it all the way down to the bottom. Wrap once around the top, that's the way I do it. I don't do that Martin lock-in thing, that's kind of redundant. So you're getting about 3 good wraps on there. That's what you want. That's what you want. Okay, now we're going to the 4. This is 50, 40, 30, 24, 16, and 12. Clean the little headstock up. Well, we got her all. Now these Grover Imperial tuners are really nice tuners. They're on that guitar that I built. I just happened to find one set. Get you enough string in the back of your hand. So you got enough room to wrap that all the way down to the bottom. That was a scratch, it was a cat hair. Man, they feel nice. I can't wait. This thing is fun to play. It sounds great. It's just hard to... Even though this is not a real D'Angelico made by Mr. Mr. D'Angelico John, it's still it's as close as you're gonna get to getting one, to owning one. But with that Rhythm Chief on there, it's got the sound. It's got the sound. Now, like I was telling you, this comes with a mini humbucker, also in a different kind of model. And it comes with a humbucker, but from all the demos that I've heard, and you know, there's all kind of demos on the internet about these. The mini humbucker one sounds like every other guitar with a mini humbucker on it. The one with the humbucker on it sounds like every other guitar with a humbucker on it. But this Rhythm Chief, this de-arming Rhythm Chief, is as close as you're going to get to that original sound. And like I said, that sound is the sound that you've heard on records, because that's all they had until Charlie Christian come along with that Charlie Christian Gibson pickup. But way back in the day, all there was an archtop and a de-arming. Oh yeah, that's straightened up quite nicely. All right. I know this is a slow, monotonous thing, but you want to bend that end up as soon as you can, because it'll scratch your face. Alright, once you get that first wrap on there, it'll just follow it down, it'll spool it on down. You want to wrap that down. The more contact, see, stringing a guitar up is all about having contact with the guitar. You want to spool those down as far as you can go, because that gives all the string contact on that bridge. I mean, on that post, and that post contributes to the vibration. Okay, when you got strings mounted right here, like on an acoustic guitar, if you got strings mounted here, spooled all the way down with a good contact, and a tone bar in your guitar that's providing contact to the bridge plate, man, your guitar will sing. That thing will hum any tune. You can hear every note clear. It doesn't sound mushy. Once you hear a tone bar in your guitar, you will realize that without a tone bar, the pins, and I've put out a lot of challenges. Nobody's proven me wrong yet, because they can't. It's just the way it is. It ain't that I'm so great. It's just that this method with the tone bar is the missing link. I believe. I truly believe that. It provides the correct contact. Alright, now we got that little boy on there. Get him up out of the way. Now there's another archtop maker named Benedetto, which you all probably have heard of. I've met him a couple times. And the story he told me was that most archtop builders died at 59 or 60. And every time you ask him how old he is, he's 58 or 59. He said, I think D'Angelico died at 60 or something like that. But like I said, Mr. D'Angelico only built 1,160 something odd guitars in his lifetime. Now I'll have to say that I've probably worked on 1,000 guitars. And I'm not being... Alright, one more to go. Oh, mercy. Okay. We're 41 minutes in. This video probably won't be able to all right, we're gonna okay, what we're gonna do here. This episode's sponsored by Tone Bar. We're getting so far up into the minutes that it won't load into my computer, so I'm gonna turn this off, turn it right back on, and we're coming back with part 2. So thank you for watching.